Hi guys, how are you?
Good, how are
Hello.
you?
Doing great. To start, I love Westerns, but I think that's just inherent in being an American that you have to have this soft spot for Westerns. But I really love having a love story at the center of a Western that still has that Western feel. To start, Vigo, was it always important for you to make sure that it never lost that Western appeal, even though it was focusing on a love story?
Yeah, even though it's a love story, which is not so unusual, there's love stories in other Westerns. What's unusual is that you have a woman being the central character and that you stay with her and get to know her and her struggle when the man goes off to fight in his masculine war. I wanted to explore that. So that's different. But everything else about it, like the way people speak, the way they look, their clothes, the buildings, the horsemanship, saddles, everything, and the way it's shot, I wanted it to feel like a classic old-fashioned Western, like simple, elegant, really see the characters, really see the landscapes. And so that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah. And it really works. And Vicky, like you just said, you get to be the woman at the center of this Western, which is very cool to see because it's rare, for
Yeah.
lack of a
Mhm.
better way of explaining it. When you are taking on that, I don't want to call it a burden, but when you are putting that on your shoulders and knowing that this is kind of like a new way of looking at a Western landscape, was there any specific way you approached her as a character, or were you just basing your like approach to this character on who she was and what she was going through?
I based it really a lot on myself, or every other woman nowadays, because I think the way we navigate as women the world today is really similar.
Mhm.
And there's a lot, going back and forth between wanting to be independent, but then realizing you can only go so far, accepting your own weakness, and then becoming strong because you accept your own weakness. To me, there's a lot of acceptance and forgiveness in the character of Vivienne. And I think this is like a central theme of women, of all time. So I really tried to make her believable and someone from nowadays that you can connect with, because also I knew I could relate on Vigo building this very Western, classical
Mhm.
landscape or surrounding for me. So I felt free in respecting just the tone of the time,
Mhm.
to give her every bit of emotion that I would feel in if I was in her shoes.
Mhm.
So yeah, I just try to make it personal because I find it important to reach the audience of today or the women of today and to say, okay, maybe we have not been the center of the story in the past, but we can. And we don't have to be a hero in order to be
Mhm.
that. We can be the center of a story the way a man can be the center of a story, just because. We don't
Yeah,
have to fight for this, or we don't have to, be particularly something. That
yeah,
was important for me to make her very normal. So yeah,
Mhm.
everyone can relate.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, and Vigo, there's no one who does a guy entering a scene better than you, I don't think. Because when we get to see him just like sitting in the back, I was like, he's done it again. He's entered a scene where I'm like, what's this guy up to? When when you're directing yourself in that sense, do you have to stop and be like, all right, well, I have to make myself look cool, or is it just inherent to who you are?
To be honest, what I was thinking then, if you remember this, it was a complicated scene
Yeah.
because it was a lot of extras and the market and the fish and the this and the that. And we took longer and we had problems with the crane that had the lights. And it was just kind of a tough day. It was one of our tougher days, I think. And by the time we got to that shot where she sees me, and this is how good the cinematographer is, he's great. You look at it, it looks the same as the rest of the scene. It looks like it's daytime. It
Mhm.
was night. It was completely night. He did that with lighting, and I was really tired, and I was not feeling very good. I didn't feel good about what I was doing. I was actually pretty uncomfortable. I was trusting the character, and I remember thinking, sitting there with the horse. The horse was also restless. He'd been standing there forever, all day long. And he was like fidgety, and he had a cold, and he was sneezing. Do you remember this?
Yes.
He was sneezing and
I
snot flying
remember.
everywhere. And I was like, whoa, whoa. And I was trying to keep the horse still. I was trying to sort of sit in a way that looked like I was, like you say, cool and comfortable. But really, I'm like with this knife and this piece of fish that I've had all day, and this horse that's sneezing. And I thought, shit, I'm gonna really blow this scene. I mean, Vicky's done such a great job, her side of it. Now we're at the end of the night, the crew's tired, it's dark, and they're putting on these lights, and I don't know. And so to be honest, that's what I was thinking. So what do you do when that happens? When everything's kind of like not good? You rely on other people. You rely on your scene partner. So I looked at her, into her eyes, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna connect with Vicky, forget everything else. And that's the only way it's going to work. And that's what happened. So, no, I didn't feel like I was very cool at that moment. I was just hoping we could connect.
And I remember trying to be extra funny or extra cute.
I remember.
Or just like make it like so real as possible, so he can forget.
I remember that. Yeah.
Well, it worked. It
Yes.
worked because it was very cool.
We
It
had
was a
fun.
very cool shot. But thank you guys so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it, and I can't wait for everyone to get to see the movie.
Yeah,
Thank you.
It's nice to be able to make an old-fashioned Western, but also tell a believable, very human love story where neither person is perfect. They're both stubborn, but somehow it works because they trust each other, you know.
It really works. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you.